We're starting our South American journey with Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. These countries, along with Panama, were once one united nation between 1819 and 1831. This nation was called Gran Colombia, or Great Colombia in English. Now, as separate nations, they still share a few similarities, but have found their own unique traditions. Join me in a local journey through Latin America. Paola Murillos is a Colombian living in British Columbia. She is the executive director of Latincuber, an organization which supports Latinos in British Columbia and promotes relationships and cultural exchanges among Latin Americans and Canadians. Paola will tell us a bit about her home country and share what inspired the creation of Latincuber.
My name is Paola Viviana Murillo Sepúlveda Medina Marín Vargas Jaramillo Martínez Flores. But anyway, never mind. It's actually Paola Viviana Murillo Sepúlveda, but for me it's very important. All those names are part of who I am today. So yeah, anyway, I just want to acknowledge sometimes that. In Latincuber, we have culture, we have entrepreneurship, we have supporting our communities, and we have empowering people with different trainings. So all of those things, for me, is what happened in a plaza. And that's where we come in the concept and see how we can have that voice in Canada. I am the crazy one. And I say crazy one because it's sometimes when you have a dream and you start from zero, you need to be sometimes crazy enough to say, I can do this. And believing in yourself and having an amazing team that always believe in you. So I am the executive director of the organization. We want to make sure that those talents that our countries are letting them go, that actually can here flourish. And that's what Latincuber is, and it's my heart and my passion. I am from Colombia, and I am part of, we're in the Americas, South America, and it's the first country in the top of South America, which Panama, and then South America there.
What part of Colombia you're from?
Bogota, the capital. So yeah, it's departments versus states. So we are 31 departments, or province, they will call it in Canada province as well. Colombia is a very diverse country. We come in a lot from the indigenous communities. We have a mix of Europeans. We have a lot of Black African communities. And I think, it's historically, Spain, Germany, a lot of Arabic, like if you go to the coast of Colombia, like Shakira, for example, her grandfather is from Middle East. So I think that Colombia is a very diverse.
There are many indigenous groups in Colombia. However, a few include Wayuu, Pastos, Zenú, and Nasa.
Spanish is the first language. New generations, of course, English is very important, and more people is trying to speak English. And the indigenous languages, which I do know that the country is trying to bring them back as well. I think that is what you will say is Spanish. So the currency from Colombia is peso. we have something that is called bandeja paisa. And la bandeja paisa, after that you don't sleep anymore because it's a huge plate with different like rice and beans and egg and meat and bacon, you know, just name it, avocado, like everything in one plate. But yeah, I will say that ajiaco, arepa, and bandeja paisa, which each region has a different plate, but those are the ones that we're well known for.
Miguel Potes is the owner of Union Latinos Food, a Colombian restaurant both in Surrey and Vancouver. Miguel will introduce us to the bandeja paisa, one of Colombia's most famous dishes.
I am from Colombia, Bogota to be exact, but raised in Cali. I am the owner of the restaurant, which is called Union Latinos Foods. The dish I will present today will be called the bandeja paisa, a very popular dish and traditional in Medellin and now here in Canada as well. The bandeja paisa consists of many ingredients, some of which are rice, beans, plantain, avocado, egg, sausage, arepa to kind of have a breakfasty vibe, avocado to be healthy, and chicharrones, which are called pork rinds. Very delicious. When I eat the dish, it means that I feel at home, right? It's because Colombia is very far from Canada, and a lot of people cannot be with their families at home. So when you eat the bandeja paisa, you kind of feel there, which is why a lot of people also like the dish and like our restaurant. That way they can feel at home as well. And yeah, it's very good too, so.
Coffee is something that we feel very proud in the region. I think that also music. We have different artists, you know, from Shakira, Juanes, Maluma, DJ Balvin. So I think artists and music is something that the world knows. We know people know Sofia Vergara. Some other people know other things, but I think that this is what we feel more proud of it. I think the landscape, the flora, fauna, which is also very well known Colombia because of that, but I will say the colors, the weather, the richness of our the land is beautiful. So people will love to come to Colombia to really visit from the Amazon region. Then you go to a little bit more like to Cartagena. And also the coffee region is a place where you really need to explore. So I think people always coming to do some beautiful hikes, to connect with the culture, with the music. So I would say, you know, the Amazon region, Bogota is the capital, which has a huge areas for like music, the nightlife in Bogota. I was there and I was saying, you know, this is what Colombia should be known, because again, the fusion of music is so rich that you will find all kind of that nightlife in Colombia, in Bogota, but then more hiking and mountains and all of that as well.
Elizabeth Baena is a Venezuelan folk musician in British Columbia. Elizabeth will give us a closer look into Venezuelan culture and its lively folk music, which is highly influenced by indigenous, African, and Caribbean rhythms.
My name is Elizabeth Baena. I am from Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela. And Venezuela is located at the top, in the north of South America. So we have all the Caribbean coast, and then we have in the east side, we have Guyana, and then on the south side, we have Brazil, and then we have on the west, Colombia as a neighbors. About 23 states, and then the capital city being Caracas. Venezuela have a variety of ancestries. And in the ethnic minorities in Venezuela, the groups descend from the African and African contribution and the indigenous contribution as well.
There are 30 indigenous groups in Venezuela. A few include Wayuu, Warao, Yanomamo, Motilone Bari, Añu, Yecuana, Yaruro, Pemón, Wotuja, and Kalina.
We'll have the white European ancestries. So it's a combination of the Italian, the Spanish, the Portuguese. There is a huge mix in there. Well, Spanish being the principal language, the second language is not definitive. And what I mean is that in the Constitution it shows, or it tells me, that there are over 30 indigenous languages that we don't, of course, we don't speak them all, but I wrote it here for you just to make sure. The Wayuu is spoken on the west side, and then we have the Warao on the east side of the country, and then we have the Yanomami in the south part, and then in the southeast we have the Pemón. But the Wayuu is the most spoken indigenous language. And then in addition to the Spanish, we have Italian, because the communities speak their own language. So the Portuguese, we have the Arabic, we have German, we have Russian people, we have Hungarians. And in the Margarita Island, they have a lot of Lebanese and Syrian, and within their community, they speak their own language. So there is a huge variety of language, and some that I haven't mentioned, but very big. My country's currency is the Venezuelan Bolivar, even though right now a lot of the US dollar is being used, but it's the Bolivar. The Venezuelan main plate is called pabellón, and pabellón consists of white rice, black beans, shredded beef or carne mechada, and plantain.
Igor Gonzalez is a Venezuelan chef with more than 25 years of experience in the culinary field. Igor will give us a brief history behind Pabellón Criollo.
This is a traditional dish from Venezuela. The name is Pabellón Criollo. This dish have rice, it's made with rice, black beans, shredded beef or like a beef, pulled beef, and plantain, fried plantain, and avocado. So the first thing that has to make is, the thing that is, this dish, they have a lot of procedure. We have to, first I soak the black bean a day before, because it takes like 1 hour to cook. And after that, we start to cook the beef, nice, like a stew. And after that, we have to shred the beef. And after we had all this thing ready to go, we just prepare the beef that we call carne mechada. The plantain, they have to be nice and ripe to fry. Yeah, the dish is all Venezuela. They eat a dish, and they in some place they put like a fried egg. They call like a convoy pavillon, something like that. Yeah, but in all Venezuela you can find those dish. Oh, that dish have a lot of history from every ingredient. They have some meaning to our country. Like after Cristobal Colon arrived in America, so all the settlers coming from Europe. And after that, they came a lot of African people and the native people. What do they mean? Like the rice, they mean Europe people, like people who come from Europe because it's kind of white, right? You know, the black bean that we make is from Africa because we have people from Africa, and the brown color case is like the plantain and the meat is from native people from our country. It's why we call like a pavilion. It's like a culture, different kind of culture. Yes.
What inspired me to make the band, I guess, was the passion for music that we all have. So the group Así Somos, we actually known each other since probably over 20 years, all of us. So we've been talking about making the band for 10 years prior to forming the band. So in 2014, we started with the practices. And then we just got passion for it. We love the music, we love the instruments, and then from there we go. The music we play in the band is Venezuelan folk music, and I always try to keep it on that strategy. I don't want to go to perform music from another country, just Venezuelan music, because Así Somos is what we represent, and Así Somos means the way we are, the way we talk, the way we speak. So the folk music, because we were in choirs when we were younger, it reminds us of our childhood, so it's very natural for us to perform folk music and all the variety that comes along. Bars, and then salsa, some merengue to give them different rhythms, and even we include some calypso from the Caribbean coast. The main instrument for all the Venezuelan music is the cuatro. Now the cuatro is a 4-string guitar, usually nylon. And this cuatro was made by Richard Cermeño. He's a Venezuelan musician and artist as well. And we are very good friends, so that's the reason I brought one of his cuatro. The sounds will be... So this is the main instrument. Actually, for all the Venezuelan music, is the main instrument. They use them for the vals and the salsa and the merengue. It's just that it has different touches. And then we use the charrasca as well. And the charrasca is an instrument that comes from Maracaibo, for what I understand, and it makes a very deep. Now, the maracas are very interesting. This is from our indigenous contribution. This one is made from a fruit tree. Well, the fruit tree carries this. They call, in English, they call them gourds. And actually, I learned the word yesterday. And then they use seeds inside, and they just put them together, and they give different sounds. So these are the original maracas, or what they call shakers. And then they made different in plastic and other different materials. Venezuela is known because it was the world leading oil production for many, many years. And is known for the cacao production as well, and the coffee production. And one of the most popular is the Angel Falls. Angel Falls is located at the Canaima National Park and is the tallest waterfall, uninterrupted waterfall in the world. It's 979 meter high. Then we have what they call Morrocoy, and Morrocoy goes to towards the west of Venezuela. And Morrocoy is called inlet, and is very famous for the mangrove, beautiful beaches as well, and you can only get there by boat. Then we have the Merida State, and the Merida State, we have the Andean Mountains as well, and it has the longest and the highest cable car that reach what they call Pico Espejo. One of the other attractions in Venezuela, and tourist attraction, is the Margarita Island. Beautiful island, also around in the Caribbean, beautiful beaches as well, free port, and I love Margarita Island. We used to go on holidays when we were growing up, so it has a very little spot in my heart.
Emily Taez is an Ecuadorian living in British Columbia. Emily will give us an inside look into her culture and show us how to make one of Ecuador's most delicious meals, the ceviche.
Ecuador is located at the south of America. At the north of Ecuador we have Colombia, and the south and east is Peru, and the west is the Pacific Ocean. So Ecuador has 4 regions. So we have the Galapagos Islands, we have the coast, the Sierra, which is the Indian mountains, and the Amazon is the rainforest. So Ecuador is compounded with 24 provinces, dividing all of those regions. The capital city is Quito, where I'm from. Yes, Ecuador has 5 ethnic groups. Number 1 are the Afro-Ecuadorians. Number 2 are mestizos, which is the mix of the people who conquer us and are indigenous. There are the indigenous, the Caucasians, and Montubios, which is the people from the coast. Ecuador, 93% of the population speak Spanish, as well as Quechua is the second language, official language, and also the Shuar. Ecuador is a multicultural country that has 14 nationalities, so each of them has their own language. So Ecuador's currency is the American dollar. Unfortunately, in 2000, we lost our own currency, that it was sucre, Ecuadorian sucre. Ecuador has delicious food. One of the most well-known typical dishes are the roast guinea pig, as well as the pork. We have different ways to make the pork, like pulled pork, could be also fritada, which is also like parts of the pork, like more like big chunks of the pork that is fried. Also shrimp ceviche, as well as a lot of variety of seafood. Today I'm gonna cook shrimp ceviche. So we're gonna use purple onion. We're gonna use the shrimps, of course. We're gonna use for the base of the ceviche the shells of the shrimp. We're gonna blend, and it's gonna be a little bit there. Also, we're gonna use tomatoes. We're gonna use a little bit of garlic, ketchup, mustard, salt and pepper, of course, green pepper, and aside I'm gonna make some patacones, which is green plantain, and also with rice. So this dish means to me Ecuador. Shrimp, for Ecuador, shrimp is one of the most exported products around the world. So Ecuador is very well for their shrimps. Bananas, you can find everywhere bananas from Ecuador, and flowers. I believe most of the Ecuadorians know how to make it, but basically my dad was in the army over there, so he was living quite a long time in the coast. So he introduced me how to make a really good ceviche because he lived with the natives of the coast of Ecuador.
Luis Jairo Morales is an Ecuadorian vendor at Seaside Art Crafts, a store in White Rock, British Columbia.
My name is Luis Jairo Morales. I came from Ecuador, South America, and I am a vendor. I import traditional clothing from South America, Ecuador, and Peru.
Jairo sells high-quality, handmade arts and crafts from Ecuador and Peru. Him and his family are descendants of the Incas, an indigenous group found in Peru and Ecuador. Jairo says that selling crafts from his culture dates back to many indigenous Ecuadorians who have dedicated their lives to sales. Many have left Ecuador to sell their crafts and clothing in places like Europe, Asia, and North America. He says that it's a virtue for many indigenous Ecuadorians to be able to go around the world sharing Ecuador's culture and its music.
I believe Ecuador is most known for their magical and beautiful Galapagos Islands. Also, Ecuador is really well known for their bananas, as I said earlier. Around the world you will find the bananas are from Ecuador, as well as the equator. Ecuador comes with the name because of the equator. Equator, which means mitad del mundo. I believe that is one of the most principal attractions of Ecuador as well. Also, the Amazon rainforest. It is amazing there. You can see lots of animals. Plus the communities there, people in Ecuador is really warm and welcome. They take care of you like a family. So the people, the food, the culture is one of the most biggest things in Ecuador. Plus the weather in Quito never changes basically, it's always spring. In Quito and the coast is always hot. In the jungle is humid and hot at the same time. So our weather is the best in the world basically. Yeah, it makes me a little bit homesick talking about Ecuador because I really miss that.
I hope you enjoyed this first look into South America. In the next episode, we will highlight a few more countries. Join me in this local journey through Latin America.